We choose to go to the moon. Not because they are easy.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
But because they are hard.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Hi, welcome to We Choose to Go to Kennedy, the official podcast of the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex, where we talk all things past, present, and future of American spaceflight. I'm your host, Jenna.
And I'm Shelby.
And today we're at our newest attraction, the Gantry at LC39. Today to talk a little bit about that is our project manager, Richard. Richard, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Very nice to have you out here today. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about LC39. The Gantry at LC39 is a very special place that we have out here. It's located literally in the center of the LC39 complex. That starts at the VAB and it ends at the historic launch pads back here. So we are very centrally located for our tasks that we have to do out here.
Yeah, that's so great, Richard. But can you tell us a little bit more about you and being a project manager here at the Visitor Complex? What is that like?
Being a project manager at the Visitor Complex has been a lifelong dream of mine, something that was always on my bucket list, so it's very nice that I ended up here. The unique thing about being a project manager here is that we get to play with things that nobody else does. We play with space artifacts, space capsules, rockets every day. That's something that you can't have at any other job. This is a great place to be.
Yeah, it must be so cool to do.
Definitely. And then your latest project, the Gantry, kind of involves the intersection of nature and technology, and we're excited to get the insider scoop and the tour of all things Gantry.
It really does. We were tasked at the very beginning, which was a little over 2 years ago, with creating something that celebrated the way we have the wildlife refuge out here and how that works on launch days and with the launch pads and everything and all the activity that goes out around here. So we came up with some experiences that we think capture the moment.
Richard, I want to talk about this big boy right here.
We are located on the center of the Merritt Island Wildlife Refuge, and this gator is the only gator that you can get your hands on this refuge. Isn't that true, Richard?
It is. When we built the little wildlife display in the center courtyard here, we tried to pick out animals you had a really good chance of seeing when you come out to Kennedy Space Center. And these guys, you have a great chance of seeing. We have gators everywhere out here. He was molded from a real gator, and he's very near and dear to our hearts.
So that eagle that we just showed, we call her Apollo. What is so significant about that eagle here at the Gantry?
Well, there's a lot of things significant about that eagle. First of all, it was made to patina the correct way. So several different metals that made it look like an eagle once it sat out in this environment for a little bit. But the really interesting thing about it is the talons on the eagle were made from part of this panel right here.
And in true Visitor Complex fashion, we have an authentic artifact. What is this huge hunk of metal and how did we get it?
Back in the 60s and early 70s, the Apollo program had a large launch gantry that had a big tower on it. That's what carried the Saturn V rockets. When the shuttles started, this is what the modification to this original launch platform became. It had 3 blast chambers instead of 1 because the shuttle has the side boosters. When it became this, they designated it Mobile Launch Platform number 3. I happened to be coming out here one day with one of our bus drivers from the Kennedy Space Center, and they said to me, hey, you know that platform that's across the street that's getting cut up is actually the Apollo 11 launch platform. And I looked it up that day and realized he was correct. Across the street, we were scrapping the Apollo 11 platform. Here at NASA, they can't keep everything, so eventually we have to move on from things that are obsolete. That platform, I went over one day and met the contractor over there and I said, hey, you don't know me, but I'm building a renovation project to the Gantry, and I'd love to put a piece of this mobile platform on display. And 2 days later, I have this 2.5 ton piece of metal here.
That is so cool and such a unique story. You must be really proud of it.
I am. It's something that guests can walk up and touch, and it's literally a piece of history.
Well, in rocket-related fashion, should we head over to the other interactives?
Let's go.
Okay, Richard, I think it is time to address the centerpiece of this gantry. Looks like that's an engine that we're looking at. Can you tell us more about that?
I can. So this gantry and that engine were all part of this renovation and original contract that went on, conceived in 1996, built in 1998, so that folks could come out and see the shuttles out on launch pads 39A and B, which are right behind us. The thing about the gantry that we saw, this thing's 70 feet tall, it's 4 floors of beautiful views. The thing that we saw was it had this big cutout in the front here. And we would typically hang banners or something like that, depending on what the event was that was going on at the time. And we realized that our gantry looks exactly like the John C. Stennis Center down in Mississippi, where we test fire rocket engines. Every engine that goes into a rocket has to be tested before it goes in. And we thought, why don't we build a rocket that we could show folks basically how the testing goes? So we built RG-39. And the unique thing about RG-39 and all the things out here at LC is NASA donated a Apollo era engine, a J2 engine, for us to use as our realness to our new test fire engine. So every 38 minutes, we fire this engine.
I think that's absolutely exciting. It's something cool that we have that engine test fire simulator. Something that's really cool is that we do real rocket launches over on the pads, and we might have the best viewing spot. Should we head over there?
We sure should.
Awesome.
One thing that is so special here at the gantry is the unbeatable launch views. We have a brand new set of bleachers that you can view from. You can view from the lawn to the other side. Richard, can you tell us why this is so cool for our guests to see?
Well, the closest you can get for a launch and be out here at LC39 is all those pads that are across the water there. That is all of our space partners. They launch from over there. So we decided, let's build a 600-seat stadium so that they can we can bring guests in here where they could actually watch the launch, feel it in those bleachers, because when a rocket takes off there, those bleachers are moving.
Richard,
Yeah.
I want to know the coolest launch that you've seen from here.
So literally, the bleacher manufacturer got done on a Thursday when we had a Saturday launch plan. So I literally came up here and sat by myself on the top row of the bleachers there. And it was an Atlas V rocket that took off from across the water here.
That is too cool.
And one thing that we want to share is those 360 launch views. So what do you say we go up on the gantry and check out those views?
Sounds great.
This is the ultimate 360 view.
And what an incredible view it is. Richard, what is it like being here on a rocket launch day?
It's the most exciting days you can be out here. The activity that goes on a launch day is incredible. The crowds gather out here. We have pads 39A and B over our shoulder, and we have the other pads that the space partners shoot from across the way. You can literally feel it in your soul when these rockets take off.
Well, it's an unbelievable experience getting to view launch, but how about we try our hand at building our own rocket? Let's do it.
Sounds great.
So Richard, what I'm hearing is I finally get to live out my dream as a rocket engineer. How am I actually going to build this rocket?
Well, we created a bunch of game consoles here that allow you to select a mission, one of 4 missions, and then you have to customize your rocket with one of innumerable combinations of rockets to see if you can accomplish that mission.
Very cool. Do you have a favorite mission?
I do. My favorite mission is always going to be deep space, because you get to use the biggest boosters and the biggest fuel capacity and the biggest payloads.
Okay, deep space sounds easy. I think I'm ready to build my rocket.
We'll find out at the end how you did.
All right.
And here at the gantry, we're so incredibly lucky to have our own Earth Information Center.
And it's one of how many?
Well, there's 2 existing. There's one in DC, and then there's one actually at the Smithsonian right now. This will be the 3rd one.
Very cool. So it's definitely a rare opportunity to have it. I want to know what went through your head when you were designing this whole experience.
So the whole idea behind the Earth Information Center is we were talking about the animals out in the courtyard. When we bring the folks into the building, we want to show how we monitor the Earth's health so that those animals have a pleasant place to be. We talk about satellite technology in the theater and how the Earth looks vulnerable from out in space. So the interactives that are in the gallery space here all talk about satellites and the specific things that they monitor, like this interactive behind us.
Very cool. Tell us a little bit more about how that works.
So that one's called Earth Pulse. Earth Pulse shows in the center column the name of a satellite, one of the ones that I think 34 of them that monitor the Earth's health right now. Then it shows us in real time from JPL in California. It shows us sending information up to the satellite, and in real time, it responding back with data. So some of the satellites are very active all the time, sending information up and down. And some of them, like the ISS, for instance, we are constantly receiving data from them. So all the lights that are in the lights behind us are just coming down.
Well, it sounds like a lot of effort went into making this project with all the interactives, but I would like to keep it a little bit of a secret so our guests have something to look forward to and to experience. How about we end this trip with a little visit to the gift shop?
That sounds great.
Sounds great. Let's go.
And you know, a trip to the visitor complex is never complete without a stop at the gift shop. Be sure to stop by the gift shop at the Gantry LC39 to get the exclusive merchandise.
And Richard, thank you so much for joining us on today's podcast. And thank you so much for the free merch. We'll see you around.
We choose to go to the moon. Not because they are easy,
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
but because they are hard.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.